with a high near 44, and Friday rain and snow with a high around 39. Scotch-A-Mama's offers huge taste out of a little place. They offer mouth-watering baby back ribs, grilled chicken, and half-pound pulled pork sandwiches. Located at 3 West Diamond Lake Road near the intersection of Nicollet Avenue and West Diamond Lake Road in Minneapolis. Find their winter hours and full menu at scotchamamas.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show for your Thursday. Matt and I believe that would be Brett over there. Hey, Brett.
Hey there.
We got Burrill at 4:35 today. He's going to be in town doing some shows coming up here over. This is going to be at the Comedy Corner with Max Chapman. That is tomorrow night and the 22nd at 8 p.m. I'll put a link up for tickets a little bit later on. We will chat with Robert, one of my favorite guests to have on the air, coming up here in a little bit. Hey, it's 420. You know what that means? Dope.
I guess at the legislature, they could have tried to time to pass the bill on 420.
They could have. But everyone was kind of relaxed and having some munchies. You know how it goes.
Well, they lost track of the date.
Yeah, sometimes it just flies on.
Oh, we totally spaced on
man, that Star Trek Enterprise Next Generation stuff, man, that is just, I got to watch it, man. I just got to sit and watch it, man, over and over. It is funny listening to the way that Republicans are kind of trying to portray marijuana, which, by the way, is legal, I think, now in more states than it's illegal. Is basically like we're going to have meth being done in kindergartens. I guess that's it. Dude, if you're going to ban marijuana, you're still on that bandwagon. You might as well ban sugar because sugar impacts people. Have you ever get a kid a candy bar? Holy God. Bouncing off of walls for hours. Bouncing off of walls. So yeah, needless to say, I think it's going to get passed, if you want to know the truth. I really do. I think we're going to have legal marijuana in the state of Minnesota. And then, of course, the narcs that are the Minnesota GOP will be able to, we'll get rid of it as soon as we can. Hey, got up early today to catch a rocket launch. How'd that go? SpaceX's giant new rocket exploded minutes after blasting off. Did you see the footage of that at all, by the way?
No, but the description was kind of enough of what happened.
Yeah, it's as advertised. Okay, I don't take any joy in downfall, but this was weird. Now, science. Yes, there's a lot of things you can learn when things go wrong. As Edison said, when he got his light bulb in the 136th try, and he said, what did you learn? He said, I learned 135 ways not to make a light bulb. That sort of thing. I get that. Science, and there's going to be a lot of information you'll be able to study. But to act as if the rocket blowing up was the main goal intent as it was weird. If you go watch the 4-minute broadcast, or actually not 4 minutes, it was a longer broadcast. It was in the air for 4 minutes about. There are a few different things that are weird. First of all, the play-by-play commentators, they're look at it go. It's good now. It's going to do a flip, and it's going to, there's going to be booster ejection, and it's going to land in the ocean, and they're going to gather it up, and this is going to be great.
They had announcers for this.
Yeah,
really?
they had announcers, and not good ones either. They did this play-by-play of the video image. Okay. And so they did this. And when it was clear, I could tell, but just, okay, it was supposed to do one flip. Why is it doing like 8 flips? Something was seriously wrong, and it wasn't separating. They come on out, and it's almost like you could feel Elon Musk standing behind the play-by-play people, grabbing into their shoulder. Oh boy, that doesn't seem to be going right, but the only thing that mattered was clearing the tower, and we did. Is the only thing that mattered clearing the tower? I don't think that was the only thing that mattered. I think you wanted to land that sucker, right? The crowd of unbiased supporters, find your Twitter troll here. That's it. There was a group of people who were cheering, who cheered emphatically when the rocket blew up. Yeah! Like that wasn't supposed to happen, guys. I don't quite know what it is. And they're in, like, again, I mean, Elon he's, Tesla stock is down. Twitter doesn't really make any money at all. So he's got SpaceX he's trying to work on here. So hey, this is exactly what we wanted to have happen. Is it? I don't think it is. That's why you had a boat out there in the Gulf of Mexico, isn't it? It was that was where you're supposed to go pick up the rocket. It was out in the Gulf of Mexico, not blowing up. So it's different. I don't take any joy in the rocket blowing up. It's unfortunate that this thing happened. Hopefully no one on the planet Earth got hurt. But I will say, it's different than it was when, like when the NASA program was doing it. When Grissom, White, and Chaffee, when they died, when the rocket blew up on the launch pad. I don't really feel any connection to it. It's just a business. It's like, so there's a recall on a Ford. Well, maybe you should have made it better. I think this is the privatization of the space race is not good for us in regards to what it actually does. You know what I mean? I don't find any, there's no real connection there. I mean, it's very different from whether it was the initial moon launches or Voyager. I remember when I was a kid, those National Geographics came in with the Voyager pictures of Jupiter and Saturn. Holy cow. That was like, I couldn't stop staring at them. Hours. Just amazing. All we had really were kind of blurry images of the thing. And all of a sudden you see it and go, wow, this is really cool. That's a planet out there. I felt the same way when the European Space Agency went out past Pluto. I'm like, hey, we finally seen Pluto. That's great. Can we make it a planet again? No? All right, fine. Whatever. This is why, and by the way, like I said, I don't take a lot of joy in other people's, business mistakes. If you've listened to this show for any time in the last few years, we have begged, we have pleaded with Mike Lindell to apologize, either show your evidence that you have irrefutable evidence that the election of 2020 was stolen, or get on your knees, put your hands together, and beg for forgiveness. Because did you just see the lawsuit that happened there with Fox? Do you have $787 billion lying around? $1 million. Hey, I don't want to make it too obscene for you. No, you don't. I think I think about your business. I think about the employees of your business who are going to be out of business here because I don't think Dominion's going to want to take over my pillow. I've been watching this slow train wreck, and here it goes again. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, do you remember the cyber symposium that happened in South Dakota? Because if I'm thinking of cyber tech stuff, I'm thinking of the Corn Palace in South Dakota, a palace bill, an agrarian tribute area. Where can we have this? Silicon Valley? No, wait, here. Do you like corn? I know a place. This was the place where and have you ever been to the Corn Palace out in South Dakota?
I have not, no.
It doesn't have the biggest seating. As a matter of fact, I think the Guthrie Theater has probably got twice as many seats in it than this place does. And they didn't, it was pretty sparse in attendance wise. They had this, and if you remember correctly, and I'll go through the whole thing, he said, if anyone can prove my evidence is false, I will pay them $5 million. Well, here we go. MyPillow founder, prominent election denier Mike Lindell made a bold offer ahead of the cyber symposium he held in August 2021 in South Dakota. He claimed he had data showing Chinese interference and said he would pay $5 million to anyone who could prove the material was not from the previous year's U.S. election. He called it the Prove Mike Wrong Challenge. On Wednesday, a private arbitrator ruled that someone had proved Mike wrong on this challenge.
I love the name of that challenge.
Well, mission accomplished. The panel said Robert Zeidman, a computer forensic expert, 63-year-old Trump voter from Nevada, was entitled to $5 million. Now, this is an arbitration panel that's ruled on this, and this is where this gets interesting. You'll see here in a second. Zeidman had examined Lindell's data and concluded that not only did it not prove voter fraud, it had no connection to the 2020 election. He was the only expert who submitted a claim arbitration records show. He turned to the arbitrators after Lindell management, which created the contest, refused to pay him. I'm not going to pay you. Can I pay you in 5 million pillows? I don't know. Okay. In their 23-page decision, the arbitrator said Zeidman proved that Lindell's material unequivocally did not reflect November's 2020 election data. They directed Lindell's firm to pay Zeidman within 30 days. In a statement to the Washington Post, Zeidman said he was really happy with the arbitrator's decision. They clearly saw this as I did, that the data was given at the symposium was not at all what Mr. Lindell said it was. He said the truth is finally out there. Zeidman's a lawyer, Brian Glazer, said that the panel's decision stood as a warning to others who made wild accusations about election fraud. I think the arbitrators thought it is important that these claims be vetted because they've done great harm to our country, he said. Which, once again, these are Trump voters and his lawyer basically saying, no, I'm glad I proved this that he lost. Lindell said in a text to the Post, they made a terribly wrong decision. This will be going to court. His attorneys did not reply to a request seeking comment. Now, we got to get back to the arbitrator thing here. A copy of the contest rules submitted to the arbitration said disputes would be resolved exclusively by final and binding arbitration, and noted that arbitration is subject to very limited review by the courts. So what he did, and if you don't know what's going on here, this arbitration is a way for people to basically make it very difficult to be able to get justice. It presents a very high bar. You have to prove your case, and it usually has a lot of, nuances that you have to be careful of. This guy did his research, did his due diligence, and followed the rules of the arbitrator. So the arbitrator really had no argument that they could not pay him. And so that's where you get the idea. Glazer said that the panel's decision cannot be directly appealed, but that Lindell could ask for a federal court to quash it on the basis that it represented a manifest injustice, which, once again, to do that, you've got to bring in the evidence that proves that he was wrong, disproving your evidence, which, once again, we have asked over and over for you, Mike, to produce, which you still haven't. The statutory grounds for such a claim are narrow and are extremely rare for such a claim to succeed. So basically, Lindell painted himself into a corner with the arbitrator, because now that the arbitrator is ruling against him, it's going to be virtually impossible for him to, I'm not saying it is going to be impossible, it's going to be very difficult for him to basically be able to nullify this arbitrator's thing. But then you've got to go to court and determine this. By the way, Lindell also faces a $1.3 billion defamation suit from Dominion Voting Systems and a defamation lawsuit from one of Dominion's former executives as well. In the months after Trump's 2020 election, Lindell spent millions of dollars to finance lawsuits supporting right-wing activists nationwide and launch a streaming television station dedicated to amplifying election fraud falsehoods. During frequent media appearances, he had advertised his 3-day symposium as the event where he would finally provide data proving his claims. And he issued his high-stakes challenge. There is a $5 million prize for anybody that can prove the election data that I have from the 2020 election was false and is not from the 2020 election, Lindell said in the conservative show, The Glazov Gang, which streams online. The data he planned to reveal, he said, were packet captures that he said would demonstrate Chinese government interference. Packet captures, or PCAPs, are specific file format that is an industry standard for archiving internet traffic. They were captured in real time and preserved. They cannot be altered. They're 100% evidence, Lindell said on the show. So it will show an intrusion. It was an attack from China. Okay. The symposium, he later told arbitrators, was meant to do three things: to make sure the media showed up, the cyber guys showed up, and politicians to open their eyes and say, hey, we got to check into this. Lindell's claims that he had packet captures intrigued Zeidman, who had served as an expert for tech firms in intellectual property lawsuits. Describing himself as a reasonable and moderate conservative who voted twice for Donald Trump, Zeidman told the arbitration panel he was skeptical of Lindell's claims, but he said he did not believe Lindell would promote unvetted data, so he thought the conference could offer a great chance to see history in the making, perhaps an election overturned. Aha. At the event, Zeidman received contest rules. There was no mention of disproving Chinese interference according to contest forms submitted to the arbitration case. Rather, winners would have to prove that the data provided does not reflect information related to the November 2020 election, which is pretty much everything. At the symposium, participants interested in the contest were given a badge with a hot pink dot on it to indicate they were cyber experts and could enter a room where Lindell's data was shared, because, you know, that's how you spread some excitement in South Dakota. Pink dots. Hey, look at this. We're partying. The profiles provided to Zeidman and other experts were primarily text or PDF files. Zeidman testified that one was a flow chart purporting to show how elections generally work. Another, so not from the election, another, when unencrypted, was a list of internet IP addresses, and others were erroneous files that appeared to Zeidman to be random numbers and letters. So, God. The packet captures Lindell had promised were nowhere to be found, according to Zeidman. Zeidman laid out his findings in a 15-page report. I have proven the data Lindell provides unequivocally does not contain pocket data of any kind and do not contain any information related to the November 2020 election. So he basically put out some files that just had a bunch of numbers in it. Boop, beep, boop, 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 boop. You know, 100, 100, 30. Why not throw a few threes in there? I don't know what was going on.
Saying Mike Lindell cheated on his homework.
Well, okay. I will say this. I think there are enough people going to him saying, I've got the proof. So I think that, you know, what the problem is someone comes to you with that proof, you got to do your due diligence before you go with that and run with it. And so you then become the voice of record if you have not vetted said information. At 6 weeks after the symposium, Zeidman sent a letter to Lindell management to claim the prize. He got back a denial, and the following month he filed for arbitration, a type of proceeding that allows parties to resolve disputes outside of the court system. The private arbitration proceedings in Lindell's home state of Minnesota concluded written briefs, depositions, and a 3-day hearing in January with sworn testimony from Zeidman, Lindell's subject matter experts, and witnesses. The Post obtained records of the proceeding. Asked why he decided to go to the trouble of seeking a hearing, Zeidman testified he wanted the money and wanted it's $5 million, man. That's a chunk of change, dude. Lindell has a lot of followers. He's making statements to people that I know, people that are good friends of mine, people that are influential, and they're claiming that he has data that shows this election was stolen. Zeidman's lawyers wrote to the panel that the data presented at the symposium contained no recognizable data in any known data format. Lindell testified at arbitration that he did not share that what he had described as a key data to support foreign intrusion claim during the conference. He held off, he said, after a man seeking a selfie poked him in the side at the symposium was nearing an end, an act that Lindell called an assault. It said he took as a signal the government might tamper with his central information if he made it public. Lindell told the panel that after the incident, his red team, are you sure it has red ass team? Red team. Was that Luke Skywalker? Was he red? Was he or blue? Oh, I can't remember. Red team advisors warned him against making that informed public. They said it could be a poison pill put in the data that we should release the China stuff. The arbitrators didn't address the substance of Lindell's claims about vote tampering, knowing that they were not asked to decide whether China interfered in the 2020 election. What they did ask was the information he provided, which was his undeniable proof that there was a fraudulent election in 2020, that you have to prove that that information wasn't from 2020, and this guy proved it wasn't. $5 million, man. Mike, I don't know if you can. I mean, Dominion right now is salivating. They got $787 million from Fox. Fox is throwing everyone under the bus at this point. Mike, beg, seriously, unless you have this concrete evidence. If you've got it, have a press conference, release the evidence. Now is the time for you to basically stop this game. You might be able to save your company and a lot of people's jobs if you either come forward with this so-called evidence, which should be a little bit better from what you just presented at your symposium, or start apologizing profusely. Say, I'm sorry. Go on any network that will allow you on there. Beg for apologies, beg for forgiveness, and move on. Maybe if you do one of those two things, you might be able to save your company. If not, $5 million is going to seem like a cakewalk to what Dominion is going to get from you. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Don't drive too fast or you will miss Scott Jamama's Hot Barbecue. Scott Jamama's offers huge taste out of a little place. Located at 3 West Diamond Lake Road near the intersection of Nicollet Avenue and West Diamond Lake Road in Minneapolis, this tiny hole in the wall offers mouth-watering baby back ribs, grilled chicken, and half-pound pulled pork sandwiches. Don't forget to add the potato salad, spicy baked beans, twice-baked potatoes, and delicious desserts. Find their winter hours and full menu at scottjamamas.com.
Hey, John, I heard you're turning 65 this year. Time to start comparing your Medicare insurance options.
Oh, I am so overwhelmed with all the different Medicare companies and plan designs. I don't even know where to begin.
Really? I worked with compareyourmedicare.com and they made my Medicare decision seem easy.
Huh, really? Well, what do they do?
Compareyourmedicare.com represents several of the top Medicare insurance companies in Minnesota. A local licensed agent will help you compare Medicare plans to determine which products best meet your needs and budget.
Wow, that sounds a lot easier than going to a bunch of different Medicare seminars on my own.
Way easier. Just go to compareyourmedicare.com and request a free, no-obligation review. You can even schedule a virtual consultation from the comfort of your own home.
Hi, this is Jared with compareyourmedicare.com. We pride ourselves in serving our community's Medicare needs. Whether you're planning to retire early or work past age 65, we can guide you through how and when to apply for Medicare. Go to compareyourmedicare.com to schedule a consultation.
Next Chapter Booksellers is not just a bookstore, but a hub for book lovers too. The store off Snelling and Grand has created a space where readers can come together for lively discussions in a variety of book clubs. One is the Sci-Fi Fantasy Club that explores forgotten classics, genre-bending titles, and small press stunners. While the Manga Club is a place to connect with other weebs, dweebs, and otaku, there is sure to be a club that meets your taste at Next Chapter Booksellers. Learn more about all the book clubs at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Yeah, Brett just asked me, did I ever interact with Lindell? I think he did respond to one tweet years ago where, no, that was it. I think it was him. I could be wrong. But I thought he did. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I'm going to get eventually to this show about the State of the State speech from Walz because Republicans are losing their minds. I mean, let me give this. This is a guy, John Ward, who's he's got 15 followers. He's some troll. How American puts the flag up there. Oh, okay. Focusing on contrast versus what we have in common. Yes, the other side does similar, but take the high ground, people. It sounds like you would hate the other 90% of our beautiful state. Rural Minnesota should never forget those that thrust themselves into our livelihood. Whoa, okay, first of all, 90% of the state. No, a large portion of the state is metro. So Duluth, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, St. Cloud. Maybe I'm going to guess about 60% of the state is non-metro, maybe. Second of all, are you saying that we now don't have to subsidize your rural counties? Because that would be fantastic. Because your counties can't pay their bills. So you need Sugar Daddy MSP to hand out the money for you guys out in rural Minnesota. And you guys keep thinking to yourself that somehow, some way, I don't know, do you think you can, there's more people in rural Minnesota than in the metro? The state's population is what, 5.7. The metro area population is 3.7. That's just the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro. That's not including Duluth or Rochester. You are a small minority of the state who has convinced yourself we're all in charge. No, you're not. We just had an election. You got your asses handed to you. You got your asses handed to you. You guys are pathetic. But it brings up something as these Republicans are going crazy about Governor Walz's speech, of the problem that they have created for themselves by embracing the extremist right. And I'll tell you what, I'll take a break. Come on back. I'll get into that a little bit more when I do return. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
The St. Paul Art Collective is thrilled to announce the return of the St. Paul Art Crawl this spring. And new for 2023, the St. Paul Art Crawl will now span 4 weekends through May 7th. The St. Paul Art Crawl will feature different districts each weekend, so you will have more opportunities to see more artists and performances. The event will showcase the work of local artists from 10 distinct art districts in St. Paul. This year's crawl promises to be bigger and better than ever, with 26 different venues hosting hundreds of talented artists, live music, dance, and delicious local food. As the longest-running art crawl in the United States, the St. Paul Art Crawl is an iconic event for art lovers and collectors alike. You can explore the city's diverse neighborhoods and experience the unique creative visions of each artist. So wander the St. Paul Art Crawl and discover the wonder of it all. That's every weekend through May 7th. For more information about the Spring Art Crawl and how to donate, visit stpaulartcollective.org.
Consumer Reports published their 2023 Best Vehicles Report, and Toyotas from Rudy Luther Toyota dominate the list again. The Corolla Hybrid, the Corolla Cross, and the Camry all top their best value new cars categories. The Camry Hybrid, the Highlander Hybrid, the Corolla Hybrid, and RAV4 Prime all ranked as best green choices, and my personal favorite, the Toyota Sienna, also ranked in the top of its class. Toyotas are not only gorgeous, they're best buys. Test drive one today by going to Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have wood stoves that qualify for the new 30% income tax credit. A great opportunity to get an efficient stove and heat with renewable energy.
Right now, avoid supply chain delays, avoid the fall rush, avoid bad weather installation, and save money because we are now discounting the price on all chimney parts you need for installation for any of Woodland's new stoves and fireplaces.
We can help you with the stove and the chimney planning. Want to do it yourself? We will help you determine all the parts needed with our installation know-how. We have been installing wood stoves and fireplaces for over 45 years.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. Save money. Take advantage of the spring and summer chimney discounts when you buy any fireplace product right now at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain today with a high near 43, tonight cloudy with a low around 34, and Friday rain and snow with a high around 39. The snow is melted and your lawn is finally visible again. But is it the lush green lawn you want it to be? If not, Natural Lawn can help. They take an organic-based approach to lawn care that's safer for your family and your pets. Don't wait for summer. Visit naturallawn.com to make your lawn envy-worthy.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. Once again, help out Lifeline Ukraine if you can, a fantastic organization offering mental health and suicide prevention services for the people of Ukraine as they deal with the ugliness that is Russia. By all means, please do. Lifeline Ukraine is a fantastic organization in Ukraine for not only the people of Ukraine, but for anyone from Ukraine who's left. You can always call in and get in touch with them if you would need to talk. Mental health services, suicide prevention for the Ukrainians. It's Lifeline Ukraine. Make a donation. I'll put up a social media link a little bit later on. 952-946-6205. So, Republicans have really you guys are in trouble. I mean, you guys are in trouble. Your most fervent base, the baby boomers, they're starting to die off, unfortunately. While this new base, Generation Z, wants, for the most part, nothing to do with you. And you know this because now Republicans are openly saying that college students should not be able to vote. Good luck with all that. No, good luck with all that. Wow. Yeah. The Republicans, the minute you started embracing the fanaticism is the minute you started going down a path which you could not get out. Because at one point, let me approach this by this. Can anyone tell me what Republican transportation policy is? The overall transportation policy, roads, trains, bikes, cars. What is it? I know that we hate light rail. So they got their bumper sticker thing, but what else? I mean, are you for trunk highways? Are you for expanding of interstates? Are you for toll roads? What are you for? Are you for the bus lines? Are you for no funding at all for the roads and basically people have to pay for it on their own, like a libertarian society? Which, well, that will go great. What can anyone tell me what the complete comprehensive Republican transportation policy is? No, of course not. Can you tell me what their health and human services policy is? Outside of masks are tyranny. You're making me wear a diaper on my face. Well, if the thing coming out of your mouth is crap, well, yes, it would be a diaper. But for the rest of us, it's just a mask. But for you guys, diapers. Okay, fine. If you insist, that's on you guys. Outside of that, what are they for? Are they for flu shots for all? Mental health screening? Anyone have any idea what a Republican is for right now in health and human services? How about environment? Can anyone explain to me what Republican environmental policy is outside of maybe mining and oil, but I mean nothing else? I mean trails, parks. Do you want to be like Wisconsin and sell off the parks? I mean, they sold a few off under Walker, I remember. I don't quite know. And the reason why is because the Republican Party isn't about issues. We had a nuclear power plant in a Republican district leak some of the material. Oopsies. Right by the Mississippi River. Oopsies. And not a single Republican from that area that represented those areas said a damn thing. It really is remarkable. They're not for anything because they've realized if they let people know what their policies really are, that people hate their policies for the most part. I mean, the wealthy people that basically get massive tax breaks and whatever program it is, they love it. But everyone else, they kind of look at it as like, this sucks. So you have that one problem. The fact that they don't really debate the positive things that they can do with their budget proposals or their initiatives because they don't really have anything. The other part is that they have fallen back to extremism. Now, at one point, a Republican would have taken. I saw this Republican talking about how he was, and this is a current video. This guy was talking to him and he was saying, there's litter boxes in that Illinois school. Check it out. Look it up. So the guy says, all right, can I look it up while you're here? And the guy says, yeah. So guy looks it up on his phone, says, oh, no, it's actually, here's a story from this teacher, or not the teacher, from the principal, from the district administrator, who basically said, no, this is a completely made up, falsified story. There is no litter boxes in the school. We just want to make sure this is completely and totally made up. And when the guy showed him that story, he said, well, that's what they're telling you. Well, yeah, that's the school administrator. They're going on the record saying it or not. You could sue them if there's not there. It's not there. What you've got now with the Republican Party, and I talked about this yesterday, where it's, you've got the I'll show you, and the racism and the bigotry and the culture wars and the insane rants. This is what the Republican Party has become. And there used to be a point where not that long ago, Republicans would have posted that video of the knucklehead down in Illinois being exposed as fraudulent and saying, can you believe this guy? But where has the problem gotten? Republicans themselves refuse to criticize this. There's a great quote someone said. He said, not all Republicans are racists, but at some point, pretty much every Republican said, we're okay with racism if you went along with Trump and a lot of this clown car brigade that's in there. It's true. Sorry. It's a harsh reality, but it's true. You may not be racist, but you deemed racism was not a deal breaker for your political support. That's just a fact. You have, I know a lot of moderate Republicans who don't agree with this idiot down there saying that there's litter boxes in this Illinois school, but they won't ever post it on their social media pages saying, for God's sakes, will someone tell this guy to shut up? And for one reason, is that they know there is a shocking amount of the Republicans who basically agree with this guy, or at the very least just want it to be true so badly that they'll attack the Republican criticizing it, as opposed to say, yeah, wow, that's just nuts. Because without any kind of reality programming in the Republican Party, their entire party has become this reality-altering fantasy world of just delusional gobbledygook. And that is where they're at. When we talk about that story out of McCurtain, Oklahoma, where the McCurtain County down there, where they have this unbridled racism, the reality is that if you are a Republican and you've got, say, 100 Republican friends, I bet you you yourself know 25% of them probably agree with the racism. You probably know that 40, maybe 50% of the people, if you were to criticize someone, would attack you for how dare you bring this up. So this is how the Republican Party dies. That the rational voices that used to exist there have been browbeaten down into submission to where they won't even say anything. And crazy stuff like what I'm about to read becomes the only thing in its place. To Rutherford B. Jug Band we go. That's right. Nathan Wessenberg. Oh, ZZ Flop. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Mwah. Thank you. Love you. ZZ Flop is good, man. I don't know. I'm sure Rutherford B. Jug Band is also just a top-notch nickname. ZZ Flop. Okay, I'm going with it. Off to ZZ Flop we go. 3 teachers from Malacca School District, about 30 miles northeast of St. Cloud, met last week with their state senator to talk about how inadequate school special education funding is burdening their district's budget. This used to be an issue people would talk about, you know. The teachers say the meeting ended abruptly when the senator kicked them out of his office and accused them of teaching kids to be gay and to hate white people. QZZ Flop. What's not in dispute is that Senator Nathan Wessenberg, Republican from Little Falls and Little Mind, threw the 3 teachers out of his office, though the teachers and the first-term senator have different accounts what led up to the confrontation. Now, mind you, the teachers who each wrote an account of what happened shortly after the meeting, so there's 3 people saying one thing and he's saying, no, that didn't happen. say that when Westenberg learned they were part of the state's teachers union, the conversation went downhill with Westenberg shouting and getting into one of the teachers' faces. Oh, I bet you that was minty fresh. Oh, God. God, man, can you imagine what that West Virginia still smelt like coming out of that pie hole? Dear God. Missing a few dominoes in there, I see. I'm sorry. Was it something like this? Was it? I don't know. Could have sounded like that. A little less dignified Tasmanian devil. It was just a blatant attack. I believe it was probably predicated. I have no idea how many teeth, by the way, he has. He could have a full box of chiclets in there. I don't know. I have no idea. When I say West Virginia still, I mean that in the nicest possible term. Okay, so just let's make sure we understand that. I have no idea exactly how many teeth ZZ Flop has, but yeah, it was just a blatant attack, and I believe it was probably predicated on the fact that he thought we were from Education Minnesota, said Dave Leom, a Malacca math teacher who attended the meeting, referring to the union with more than 86,000 members. We were not here to antagonize. We were just here to give our spiel and be done. And he was on the attack. Westenberg, ZZ Flop, who declined to an interview request, has described the confrontation in other venues, however, in his weekly legislative update to constituents. Is it called Duh? No, I'm sorry. It's the weekly Duh. Chicklets. No, in his weekly legislative update, I have no idea, by the way, what his actual legislative update is named. Okay. The Westenberg Weekly, I don't know. The Black Hole, I don't know. In his weekly legislative update to constituents, for instance, he decried Education Minnesota for flushing our education down the toilet. In Westenberg's email to constituents, he writes, there are still many schools with some of these books or books like them that teach kids about, well, I can't say that first word. It's a certain sex act. He said, okay, he's saying schools have books that teach kids kind of the Kama Sutra for kids. That is an interesting Berenstain Bears book, by the way. That is. Didn't realize those bears were that flexible. This is me mocking. I mean, you put the ball on the tee like this for me. Come on, man. Oh, the Berenstain Bears and the porn music. That's that episode. Oh, that's one of my favorites. He says apparently there are many schools with some of these books like them that teach kids, well, detailed sexual acts in a pornographic way. Are you saying there's a way to teach these things that is not a pornographic way? It's, this Kama Sutra reads like VCR instructions. Okay, grab the. All right, we're gonna need some harnesses here. It looks like your sex book, courtesy of the Home Depot. Well, if it's an IKEA one, they just got the. Never mind. No, I'm okay. Sorry. ZZ Flop writes that he told one of the teachers that this stuff is perverted and wrong and should not be in their schools. According to Westenberg, the teacher then asked, if we don't teach to them, who's supposed to? Nobody, Westenberg said. He shouted. Well, that might explain a lot about ZZ Flop right there. I'm just going to say. I'm sensing pent-up frustration, if you can understand that. It's coming out in the beard for. I told the teacher he needed to leave my office if he thought it was appropriate for children. He refused to leave. I asked multiple times for him to leave, and he refused, Westenberg wrote. I ended up loudly telling him to leave and walked out of my office, and he got in my face and said, it's because of you Christians that kids are the way they are today. No, that's as a Christian, that's me telling you this because you guys are horrible Christians in the Republican Party right now. I mean, horrible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you need to go read that book. Well, get someone to read that book for you. The teachers all deny anyone made the comment about Christians during their meeting with Westenberg and said they departed as soon as they were asked to leave. Malacca science teacher John Shipman questioned whether Westenberg was serious about protecting children from sexual abuse. Where is the legislation on the Boy Scouts, youth camps, and church retreats? He asked, referring to various sex abuse scandals that have arisen in recent decades. When is that legislation coming out? There are actual problems there. Legislate that or you don't deserve this office, Shipman said he told Westenberg. Shipman said that his colleagues wanted to talk to Westenberg about the Senate education budget bill and how it only partially eliminates the special education cross-subsidy, a term used around the Capitol referring to school districts paying for special education from their general funds because of inadequate state and federal funding. By the way, that is courtesy of Republican education policy. Unfunded mandates are the basis of Republican education policy, period. Once Westenberg learned the teachers were members of the union, which helped Democrats take the control of the Senate last year, the conversation quickly shifted, they say. Westenberg echoed themes often heard on right-wing talk radio and Fox News about teachers indoctrinating students on racial and gender issues. John Wenner, a Malacca math teacher and local union president, recalled that Westenberg said teachers are sexually abusing children with library books that teach boys how to give boys a certain sex act. Dude, what color is the sky on the planet you're on, ZZ Flop? Winner said these things are not being taught in Malacca, though they do teach students to be accepting and respectful of others. Winner told the Reformer that Westenberg may have misunderstood that meant that the educators were teaching students that sex concepts, he said, were in the children's books. Westenberg's account made it look like we were advocating for pornography in the school, and we were 100% we're not. I think it's two conversations got overlapped. No, you teachers, you did nothing wrong. He is a delusional nutbag. Because he doesn't have anything left. He is whittled down. He doesn't have an education policy. He doesn't have this. All he has is this extremist far-right talking points, which he has to triple down on and quadruple down on and quintuple down on because it's all he's got. And then he basically has to present it like, I'm the victim. I want that man to walk into one school district and find this book that he says is in there. He says this book is in schools. Where is it? Kind of like the other day when he was talking about, I saw a drag queen show in either Duluth or Minneapolis, St. Paul, where young children were putting money to drag queens. Where's the video? If you actually had that video, it would be everywhere. I don't believe you have a video. I have yet to see that video. Westenberg said the book taught kids how to be gay and how to get a sex change, Shipman recalled. Shipman said the teachers disputed those concepts are being taught at Malacca schools, which serves more than 1,600 students from early learning to grade 12. Westenberg then snatched the book out of Shipman's hands and said, if teachers agree that books could be taught to students, then you can get out of the book should be taught to students and you can get out of my office now. Loam said he feared the senator was going to hit Shipman. Nice Republican Party. You keep this guy there because I guarantee you he is going to be in every suburban House and Senate race until he's gone. That's your face. That's the picture. You and that and Draz. That's the picture. The teachers also spoke with Senate Minority Leader Mark Johnson over Zoom on the meeting with Westenberg. The teachers say Johnson told him he would speak to Westenberg about his contact. The Senate GOP caucus spokesperson confirmed Johnson met with teachers and separately Westenberg, but declined to provide details. This is all they've got. Because it's never about substance. It's about these fantasy worlds they want to believe in. Because they're broken people. Trump basically went to look at the 16-time losers, ZZ Flop, and tell them, it's not you, it's all them. And they just gobbled it up. And heaven forbid the reality of the world actually show in their face. Instead, they go into this delusional ranting. But seriously, Westenberg, Don't stop, man. As long as you are in the Senate and as long as you keep doing crazy crap like this, you will guarantee the DFL will hold the House and Senate for years to come. Thank you. You're a pal. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Hey, Twin Cities, Latunji with Latunji's Palette Bakery and Cafe, located at 1400 Park Avenue South in the Elliott Park community. We invite you to discover the best peach cobbler, coffee, soups, salads, and sandwiches in the Twin Cities. And also, you can find my delectable treats at North Market Grocery Store, Annex Farmers Market, Plant-Based Pop-Up, Bobby and Steve's, Handsome Hog, and our website, latunjispalette.com. That's latunjispalette.com.
This is Ross Stadheim, partner at MJSB Employment Justice. When you've been wronged at work or something just doesn't feel right, it's hard to know what to do next. Our firm can help. We pride ourselves on communication and listening to our brave clients to obtain their own brand of justice. When you hire MJSB Employment Justice, you're not just a number. You're a valued client who will be represented by one of our experienced and accomplished partners every step of the way. That's our promise.
Be heard. You deserve better. Contact us today at mjsbjustice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Tune in this Saturday morning right here on AM 950 for the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show from 7 to 8 a.m. We'll be discussing the world of seeds, understanding heirloom, organic, F1, F2, hybrid, as well as spring lawn maintenance. Our guest is author Kelly Smith Tribble, and we'll answer your garden questions. That's all this Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on AM 950. Tell a friend and let's grow together.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. He's your guy. He's the face of the Minnesota GOP, and you wonder why you guys lost. Seriously. Hey, he resonates out there, but he's not helping you. None of these guys are helping you in these suburbs. And I guarantee you it's going to be a very hard sell when all we have to do is air actual language from these guys in these ads and say, do you want that in charge in this state? Good luck with that. 952-946-6205. Todd is in Ramsey. He wanted to chime in before the end of the hour. Welcome on in, Todd.
Thanks, Matt. I figured out where the books are that he's talking about. They're right next to those litter boxes that all the kids do in school.
Oh, yes, that and those lipstick parties all the girls are having. Oh, it's horrible. The delusion, and the crazy part is we just had another Republican. Where was this guy in Tennessee who just got caught? One of the guys that just voted to throw one of those guys out of the house down there. He just got caught with an improper relationship with a teenager. Another one.
Ouch.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. 952-946-6205. No. I mean, and I'll give the teacher credit. It's like, well, there are places where children are being abused. Why are you not dealing with them? But I challenge ZZ Flop to go into the school and find this book you say is in there. And by the way, don't trust him or any of his people to go in them by themselves. Watch them the entire time. Because I want to find out where this Berenstain Bears Karma Sutra thing is. Because I can tell you right now, I don't think it exists outside of within ZZ Flop's mind. Hour 2 up next.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extreme extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ed Donahue. Alec Baldwin's lawyers say prosecutors in New Mexico plan to drop an involuntary manslaughter charge against him. 2 years ago, on the set of the movie Rust, Baldwin was pointing a pistol at cinematographer Helena Hutchins during a rehearsal when the gun went off, killing Hutchins and wounding director Joel Souza. Baldwin has said the gun went off accidentally. The fighting rages on in Syria, and John Kirby with the National Security Council says plans are being made in case U.S. personnel have to be evacuated.
The focus right now is on urging both sides to stop this violence, to abide by a ceasefire, to allow humanitarian aid to get to people that need it. I mean, there's already shortages of food. There's concern over shortages of medicine.
Wyoming's first full-service abortion clinic in years defiantly opened today, nearly a year after an arson attack ravaged it, and despite looming laws that could shut it down in Wyoming. According to a letter sent by members of Congress, an IRS special agent wants whistleblower protection to disclose information about what the agent alleges is mishandling of an investigation into President Biden's son, Hunter. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about it.
This is something for the Department of Justice, which is independent, and we have been very clear since the campaign that this is something that they need to speak to, and that's why we refer you to the Department of Justice.
His lawyer says the agent has information about a failure to mitigate clear conflicts of interest in the ultimate disposition of a criminal investigation related to Hunter Biden's taxes. The White House says the math in House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's plan to trim the federal deficit is unforgiving. A rough day for SpaceX. Minutes after liftoff on its first test flight from Texas, SpaceX's big rocket exploded. No one was in the rocket. The Dow finished down 110 points. This is AP News.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
This is Gregory Rich from Habitation Furnishing and Design and Drink in the Style. You may not realize it, but a trained, skilled interior designer can not just beautify your space, they can functionify it as well. I don't know if that's a word, but it is a thing. So why not check out habitationdesign.com and see if it looks like we're right for you. If it does, give us a call and let's schedule an appointment, in person or virtually, to make your home exceptional. habitationdesign.com. Have you heard about the District Edina? Well, if you haven't, you're in for a treat. The District Edina is the Twin Cities' newest and most exciting destination for all things home design and remodeling. If you're looking for flooring or window treatments, furnishings, a builder to handle a remodel or an addition, kitchen or bath work, or even original fine art, you will find it at the District Edina. The District Edina, 7777 Washington Avenue South, and online at, wait for it, thedistrictedina.com.
Over 98% of people who experience sexual harassment or sexual assault in the workplace choose not to report it. Whether it's the fear of retaliation, belief that a bystander will report it, or worry about career advancement, at MJSB Employment Justice, we help employees take a stand. I'm Bree Johnson, partner at MJSB Employment Justice, a 50% women-owned law firm. If you feel unsure what to do following sexual harassment, we will be your voice to speak your truth.
Be heard. You deserve better. Contact us today for a free consultation at mjsbjustice.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain today with a high near 43, tonight cloudy with a low around 34, and Friday rain and snow with a high around 39. Scott Mama's offers huge taste out of a little place. They offer mouth-watering baby back ribs, grilled chicken, and half-pound pulled pork sandwiches. Located at 3 West Diamond Lake Road near the intersection of Nicollet Avenue and West Diamond Lake Road in Minneapolis. Find their winter hours and full menu at scotchamamas.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show. Matt McNeil, Brett. Robert Burrell joining us here about 4:35 or so. He's got some shows coming up here. Apparently he has some thoughts on Trump getting indicted.
Robert Burrell with an opinion on that? With some comedy?
Maybe. Well, we'll have to find out. 952. I mentioned this story last hour. I should go through with it since I brought it up. One of the Republican House leaders who voted to expel 3 Democrats over gun violence protests was recently found guilty of sexually harassing at least one teenager legislative intern by a secret ethics investigation. Oh, secret ethics investigation. See, you can't hold it against us for not punishing them because we had a super secret investigation. State Representative Scotty Campbell. Now, okay, let's pull back for a quick second, okay? If you are a grown adult and you're going with a Scotty, red flag warning. Red flag warning. Scotty Campbell, the vice chair of the House Republican caucus in Tennessee, suffered no consequences for making extremely vulgar comments and making inappropriate advances towards the 19-year-old intern. And a panel comprised of 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats concluded he had violated the policy against workplace discrimination and harassment. I had consensual adult conversations with 2 adults off property, said Campbell. Or maybe I had consensual adult conversations with 2 adults off of property. Is it like that? Because you sound kind of creepy, dude. Campbell said, and then asked for comment. I think the conversations were consensual once that is verbally agreed to. Wow. If I choose to talk to any intern in the future, it will be recorded. I'm going to say you probably shouldn't be allowed to talk to any interns, period. A family member shared with the TV station an email from the victim who declined to comment on the report and provided a detailed account to officials at her university about her experience with the GOP leader who she said made sexually explicit comments about her and another intern he'd seen walking with her into the Capitol Towers apartment building. Campbell later made comments about how he was in his apartment imagining that we were performing sex acts with one another. Oh, I think I found that book, by the way, that he was going to do. It's not in a school library. It's apparently something the leadership of the Tennessee Republican Party has. He was in his apartment imagining that we were performing sex acts on one another and how it drove him crazy doing that was happening so close to him. Wow. Just creepy. The woman said, I uncomfortably explained that was not happening, and he insisted that he knew it was and asked me to tell him about it. So basically what he's saying is he saw 2 interns said that they clearly were having sexual relations. He was fantasizing about it. And when she said, no, that's not happening, he insisted he knew it was and asked me to tell him about it. How is this guy still in? You threw the other guys out for what again? The woman explained the other intern was simply her friend. Campbell, a former talk radio host, described how sexually attractive he found her, and he made other comments about being very, very lonely. Oh, I wonder why you're very lonely. Seriously, dude, you're a social, dry spot. I'll just put it that way. I do puzzles. I'm a talk show host. I go home and I do puzzles. I watch Doctor Who. I walk my dog. All right. He proceeded to ask how many men I've slept with. Well, if these walls could talk, huh? Radio is a business. Well, it's a business. How many? He proceeded to ask how many men I've slept with. I'm not laughing at these questions. This is disturbing, but I'm laughing at the thought of me saying that. How many? Well, there was Phil and Chuck and Steve twice. I mean, he's just so cute. Bob, I can't count them all. It's a bouquet, a cornucopia of sex. Anyway, he proceeded to ask how many men I've slept with. She told university officials. I told him 0, and he insisted I was lying, and he told me not to lie. God, man, it's like, it's like a can of Four Loko exploded, man, came to life. He proceeded to ask how many women I've slept with, and he says he bets girls go crazy over me. He then offered her to give her cannabis gummies to see her tattoos and piercings, and then begged for several hugs when she declined. You're saying this guy is lonely? Wow. You know, if he gives me some cannabis gummies, I'll give him some hugs. I'll just show you all my piercings. Oh, they call me the human tackle box. Come on, man. Who wants to see it? It's helpful. You know, if I'm out saying I lose a sinker, I mean, I just let me grab something here. Hopefully don't mind the trail going down. I was getting progressively more afraid and uncomfortable. She told university officials. He then reached out his hand toward me, grabbed me around my neck. I recoiled and said I felt sick and immediately left. That's when I imagine you felt sick. That was the last night I ever spoke or saw with him or saw him. I blocked his number after that. Good call. Taxpayers paid for an unspecified amount to protect the intern by moving her to an apartment building where the legislature also lived, to a downtown Nashville hotel, and shipped her furniture to another part of the state while she completes her internship. Campbell denied the women's allegations. That's not true, Campbell insisted. And that the TV station reported that he quietly answered yes when asked if the woman was making up the claims. However, the victim's email says she was told that Campbell had admitted fully to his guilt, and that Connie Ridley, the director of legislative administration for the General Assembly, provided a memorandum from his personal file to the TV station, but said legislature politics prohibited her from sharing additional information. No information concerning a complaint, investigation, lawsuit, or the implementation of corrective action will be released to anyone not directly involved in such matter. But this guy, he gets to stay in the Tennessee legislature. This guy does. You're doing great, Republicans. You're doing it's not you. I imagine like a deranged, sweaty Tennessee House leader. You keep saying to yourself, they're digging me by me saying this. But the reality is most of us are like, okay, it's time to move away from you. You're kind of creepy. God could be. You could take the elephant off the GOP, man. Just put this guy's face on it at this point. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. God, it's just a cornucopia, man, today. If I could talk about all the people I've slept with in this studio. All the people, and there were. Sorry. Oh, God, you guys are broken people, man. Whatever happened to the guy? How many Republicans will say, you know what, this guy needs to resign? How many? They won't do it. It used to be this would be a no-brainer. This guy needs to go. Now Republicans are terrified of saying this guy needs to go, even though he clearly needs to go, because they know like they were just asking for it. I don't know why you're not taking his word verbatim. It is an ugly, ugly world that the Republican parties have created for themselves. And yeah, we have to continually counterpoint this and keep reminding them of what they really represent. They're going to try their hardest. Trust me, in 2024, Republicans are going to try to get you to forget what Drazkowski said about food, Lucero said about the occult. We now recognize Senator Merlin. Oh God! By the way, did Did he raid a Chuck E. Cheese for that yellow jacket? I'm just wondering. Sorry. He's been shopping at the Music Man musical leftovers store, I see. Or whether it's Wessenberg talking about videos or mysterious books or you're going to try your hardest to paint this over and that this never existed. We're really a party of moderates. Where do you get the idea that we're extremist lineballs? Get ready to fight, folks. It does not help him. It looks like Trump's going to be at the top of the ticket and Klobuchar is going to be on the top of the state ticket here next. And that goes, so good luck with all that. 952-946-6205. Also, it does not help you that you have a fairly well-liked governor. Oh, Republicans today are going freaking crazy about Governor Walz's speech last night, the State of the State speech. The second-term DFL governor forcefully denounced GOP states, citing just Florida by name, that have rolled back voting rights, restricted abortion rights, and banned books in schools. He said Minnesota is on a different path. It's amazing that what you can accomplish when you stop complaining about corporations going woke and start giving a damn about real people and real lives, Walz said. The governor gave his address on the House floor in front of a joint session of members of the House and Senate. The legislature is in the final weeks of the 2023 session and still needs to decide how to spend the state's $17.5 billion surplus and build a 2-year budget. Walz highlighted some proposals he said would pass in the coming weeks: paid family leave, one-time rebate checks, child tax credits, and gun control. It's all part of his administration's effort, he said, to make Minnesota the best state to have a family. In his first State of the State of his second term, Walz made no mention of working across the aisle. During his first term, Walz presided over a divided government, was forced to compromise with GOP majority Senate. Instead, on Wednesday, he seemed ready to leave them behind, touting Minnesota's progressive accomplishments this year. Uncharacteristically, Walz stuck to his prepared marks and made few ad-libs. It was like being at a Democratic pep rally, Minority Leader Mark Johnson, the Republican of East Grand Forks, said after the address. What we saw was the nation campaigning speech out there ignoring the needs of Minnesotans across the state. Sure. As they passed all these bills helping Minnesotans across the state. A more inclusive Minnesota miracle. Walz reminisced about the Minnesota Miracle, a series of policies enacted in 1971 under DFL Governor Wendell Anderson. That's when Minnesota increased funding for public schools and local governments, which helped alleviate the burden on families in the form of lower property taxes. It also reduced disparities in education equality between wealthy and less affluent districts. The Minnesota Miracle was lauded nationally and landed Anderson on the cover of the Time magazine, posing with the Northern Pike headlining "The Good Life in Minnesota." Walz, however, said it wasn't really a miracle, but a strategic policy effort. It was patience and hard work, the quiet building of political will behind a vision that was shared by an overwhelming majority of Minnesotans, Walz said. He touted the legislation he has signed into law so far this session: $100 million in tax cuts, codifying the right to abortion, free breakfast and lunch for Minnesota students, and allowing undocumented residents to obtain driver's licenses. Walz noted that voters last November elected the most diverse legislature in state history, giving Minnesota the opportunity for another miracle. We've got another chance to be America's North Star, an opportunity to carve out the piece of the country where no child is left hungry, where no community is left behind, and nobody gets told that they don't belong, Walz said. Walz denounced Republican states for banning books from schools, restricting abortion, and loosening gun laws, sure to fuel ongoing speculation that he has an eye on national politics, a spot in a Democratic administration, or a third term. A third term. It's his first State of the State address of his second term. Stop it. Minnesota reformer. Stop it. I don't know. I mean, between him and Phillips, I kind of get the impression both of them are kind of starting to position themselves for national office. At least that's kind of the thing. I don't know if they are going to go. Walz already was out there for many years as the House rep down in one. So I don't know. I'm only the governor of this great state. It's not up to me how folks in those places, folks like Florida, go about their business. But I got to tell you, I'm pretty glad we do it our way here and not that way, Walz said. Johnson, after the speech, joked to reporters that Walz likely wouldn't be sending Florida Ron DeSantis a Christmas card. I wouldn't either. Johnson said he was shocked about the amount of national references in Walz' address, saying that it seemed Walz was starting to forget the needs of Minnesotans. No. He's pointing out the thing is when Republicans are in charge, they go to Cuckoo Town. They're in Crazyville. And he pointed that out very effectively. Thank God we're in Minnesota. I mean, my God, do you know the amount of Republicans that act as if these people were installed over us? No one wanted the Democrats in charge. And it's the most atrocious political leadership in the history of the world. I mean, you guys are over the freaking top. Call the ambulance. My God, man. You lost the election because you tethered your train to craziness. And have you seen them right now? They're a little crazy still. I mean, dear God, I get the impression. Westenberg's like having arguments with the granite busts outside the outside the Senate building. Let me tell you what really going on here. That guy can win a staring contest. Really, thank you. Oh. Good luck with all this. No, good luck with all this, and ignoring the fact that the state of Minnesota just picked all these guys to be in charge, not you. Let's take a break. I'll come back, finish this up. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Guy's real pale. It is the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Metza, host of the Wall of Power Radio Hour, going on its 8th anniversary this year on AM 950. I want to tell you that I've got a great book out called Alphabet Jazz, Poetry, Prose, Stories, and Songs. It's writings I've done over the last 40 years. It's available on Amazon, or if you want to shop locally, go to the Electric Fetus, Crumpy's Bar Northeast, or Hi-Fi and Hair in Loring Park. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
Many car dealers will quote safety stats, but firsthand experience really tells the story. When I bought my 2017 Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota, the service manager told me it was one of their safest vehicles ever made. Then I saw it for myself. A car hit me at 35 miles per hour, and the Sienna saved me. Its design absorbed the collision, and although it took a wallop, I walked away, and I now have a 2022 Sienna. When it comes to safety, I personally vouch for Toyotas. Be safe and get one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
2023 is here, and you can make it the year of the Eagle with the National Eagle Center. You and your family can enjoy exciting Eagle experiences, including field trips, private habitat tours, and exclusive behind-the-scenes tours. Meet live eagles up close, view bald eagles and golden eagles in the wild, and receive personal one-on-one education with dedicated and knowledgeable eagle experts as you journey into the world of eagles like never before. Learn more and plan your unforgettable Eagle experience today at nationaleaglecenter.org/experiences.
Hi, this is Frank Brown, owner of Minuteman Press Uptown, Minnesota's only minority-owned union printing company. We have big news. We've moved to North Minneapolis.
Why did you move?
As a Black business owner, I wanted to be part of the North Minneapolis community to provide jobs.
Are there other reasons you moved there?
We have bigger new equipment and outgrew the other location.
What kind of new equipment do you have?
We have new equipment that allows us to print quality signage and banners. We also have a new inkjet printer, printing larger sheets, improving production efficiencies.
Is the new location easy to find?
It's not only easy to find, it's more convenient with plenty of parking. We are now located on Washington Avenue North off I-94 and the Dowling exit.
So do you still print everything?
We print more than everything. We have over 175 Google reviews with a 5-star rating. Call 612-870-0777 or visit mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com. We print everything.
AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Once again, getting back to Walz's State of the State speech last night. Republicans are furious with it. Furious. Now, it's not like we just had an election, I don't know, 6 months ago, where basically Republicans said, we're going to give everybody tax cuts and that's all we're going to do. And Democrats said, actually, we're going to spend this money on Minnesotans. And funny story, the state of Minnesota chose the Democrats to be in charge, not the Republicans. You know, funny, I don't know. Did you see that? I think there was a blurb on it. It might have been in by the Jumble in the Star Tribune. You know, about the fact that Republicans' entire thing was going to be jamming their agenda down the Democrats' throats. And basically it's going to be tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. And the Democrats say, we're going to spend this money on Minnesotans. And they win with the Democrats. So it's almost like you just don't want to believe you got your asses handed to you, Republicans, because you have no ideas anymore. You don't have any ideas. You just spew freaking talking points and right-wing rhetoric and act like you've got a party. You don't. House Minority Leader Lisa DeMuth, Republican from Cold Springs, told reporters after the address that the lack of tax cuts for Minnesotans was disappointing and the Democrats are proposing a slew of tax increases this season. Won't somebody think about the wealthy people? With a record budget surplus, blah, 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 she said something. Walz said he would sign gun control measures into law if they reach his desk. The bills that are still being considered are expanded background checks to include private gun sales and a red flag law allowing authorities to temporarily take someone's gun away if they are deemed dangerous, which might have been a good idea in that tragic shooting out in Cyrus, because it sounds like the individual there had some history. That was a little bit of concern. Walz noted that he received an A rating from the National Rifle Association when he went to Congress. Now I get straight Fs and I sleep just fine with that night, said Walz. The gun control measures face a steep battle in the 34-33 Senate. A few greater Minnesota DFL senators have refused to answer questions on their views on gun control. Gun right groups are lobbying them with their constituents. Lawmakers sitting on the Republican side of the House chamber sat silencing during several of Walz's biggest dramatic applause lines, including gun control. Let's keep choosing to fight the right fights. Let's keep going on behalf of Minnesotan families, and let's keep making Minnesota the nation's best place for our children to grow up. And if I can take a moment here to talk to the Republican Party, you didn't look good. You didn't look good. Because, and I'm not saying you're pro school shootings, but when the governor says we're going to stop school shooting, we're going to do what we can to stop school shootings in Minnesota, and you sit there and you don't applaud and you don't cheer. And I'm not saying you have to get up and, cheer like it's, a sporting event. But I think at the very least, there used to be a time when you could say, oh, wow, with stopping school shootings, yes, I'm on board with stopping school shootings. The shocking amount of Republicans who sat there and did not even flinch when he said that line, or when he said he's going to stop bigotry and racism at the border. And once again, you didn't do that. That's an unforced error, guys. That's an unforced error. You look like you're pro-bigotry. You look like you're pro-racism. And you may insist that you're not. I'm going to guess a few of you probably are. Let's just be honest about it. Just the numbers and the ratios of American society. And especially when you look at the extreme far right, I'm not saying anyone particularly. I'm just saying, would I be surprised if there were members of the Republican Party who were racist and bigoted? Not at all. Not at all. But at the same time, when they say we're going to stop racism in Minnesota, that's all you have to do. The fact that you sit there in your hands and you're like, rage hate. I mean, I don't know what you guys think you're doing there, but you're not exactly sending the right message. And once again, we're talking unforced errors. You guys, you're really good at this nowadays. And, let's talk about, he's concerned about every other state. He's not concerned about Minnesota. His whole point was, we're not going to let Minnesota turn into every other state. So swing and a miss. And the other one is, won't somebody think of the tax cuts? I mean, seriously. Republicans, you got your asses handed to you in November. People wanted the Democrats in charge. They're getting a lot of stuff done. They're protecting rights. They're making Minnesotans safe. I mean, I'll just go with abortion. You guys, you want to go back to the thing I said about whittling, where they basically have to go with the most extreme point. Have you heard any Republican nowadays talk about, it's like, we were for some abortion rights? Because remember that before the election, that they were all about, where do you get the idea that we're going to outlaw abortion in the state? And now all it is whenever a Republican talks about abortion, they imply that every abortion is in 20 seconds before the woman goes into labor and is performed with a hatchet. And that's their calm and rational response to this. No one's buying it. No one is buying it anymore because you guys are delusional nutbags. You got nothing. And this is why you lost. And God help you. I don't even know. I don't have the slightest damn idea who the heck you're going to get statewide that could win the Republican nomination statewide. Because as much as people like would say Kendall Qualls might have been able to win that, the reality is I don't think Qualls would have finished third or fourth in that race. The Republican Party doesn't want competency. They don't want effective leadership. They want to own the libs. They want to run over freaking Bud Light cans. They want to believe that there are books in libraries and kids at drag shows. They want to believe in the occult is everywhere and that kids aren't hungry and don't feed them because they're lazy asses anyway. That's who you are. So you don't want rational thought processes. You don't want something that can work in the metro. You want the most extremist far-right person. And here's your problem. Who are you going to get to run against Klobuchar? Because whoever it is going to get their ass handed to him. So it's going to be like Neuberger again. Or Johnson. It's going to be someone who's out there who only appeals to the extremist far right. You guys are broken. You're broken, and you don't even want to acknowledge the fact that the reason why you're in the mess that you're in right now is because of your own party. And if you want to do something, start with this. Go get that story about ZZ Flop. It's on the Minnesota Reformer. Post it on your own Republican social media pages and say the following thing. This is wrong. We should not be making wild, false accusations against schools and teachers, because that doesn't help when it comes to a quality education in Minnesota. But you're not going to do it. Not even close. Oh, for God's sakes. Why did I even mention it to you? No, go with the kitty litter boxes again. Ah! Oh, watching you guys shoot yourselves in the foot over and over and over again is delicious. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Baril, when we do return, it is the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Tom. Fossil fuels continue to have negative impacts on our environment. Luckily, there are more ways now than ever to use renewable energy in your home or business. All Energy Solar offers smart energy solutions like custom solar paneling, electric vehicle chargers, and energy storage. Solar panel systems can last for decades, meaning you can help the environment and cut back on electric bills for years to come. There are incentives and rebates available to most people who install solar energy, too. Last year, the federal solar tax credit increased to a 30% tax credit. This incentive can be used in combination with other incentives from your utility, county, or city. But don't delay or miss out, as many of these incentives are limited to only a certain number of people. So have a professional from All Energy Solar help you discover how solar can power up your property while saving on your energy costs. Call 800-620-3370 or visit allenergysolar.com.
Hey, it's Kelly from Edge Magazine. Ladies, it's time to break the silence surrounding sex and menopause. The Women's Press and Edge Magazine invite you to join our upcoming event, Let's Talk About Sex, Menopause, and Aging Bodies. It takes place this Saturday at the Women's Club of Minneapolis. We'll create a safe space for women to discuss everything related to sex, hormones, menopause, and beyond. It will be a fun day filled with expert speakers, fun swag bags, more than 25 vendor tables, and experimental sessions. Featured speakers include Gaia Discoli, a reporter from the Minnesota Women's Press, who will explore topics like sexuality after middle age. We'll also hear from Peter and Lindsay Hoskins about the art of self-love, dealing with isolation and aging, elder care options for the LGBTQ plus community, and more. So join us and discover the power of self-care with menopause in a safe and nurturing environment. That's this Saturday from 10 to 3 at the Women's Club of Minneapolis. More information at edgemagazine.net.
This is Gregory Rich, host of Drink in the Style and owner of Habitation Furnishing and Design. People often ask me, why habitation for my home? Well, I could give you hundreds of reasons. I could talk about the extensive collection of furnishing suppliers or our exceptionally talented design team. I could talk about service, but the truth is, habitation clients come back room after room and home after home, and that speaks volumes. Habitation puts some drama into your interiors.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain today with a high near 43, tonight cloudy with a low around 34, and Friday rain and snow with a high around 39. The snow is melted and your lawn is finally visible again. But is it the lush green lawn you want it to be? If not, Natural Lawn can help. They take an organic-based approach to lawn care that's safer for your family and your pets. Don't wait for summer. Visit naturallawn.com to make your lawn envy-worthy.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. Robert Burrill is our favorite comedian here on the radio. He is kind enough to join us today to talk about his upcoming show tomorrow night and Saturday night. He's going to be over at the Comedy Corner in Minneapolis doing his shows with Max Chapman. I'll put a link on for tickets a little bit later on. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Going well, man. Have you just been around town lately, or are you still doing the worldwide touring all over the place thing?
If by worldwide you mean Canada, yes. I was up there doing some shows in Calgary a few weeks ago, and I'm international, baby.
You went to Calgary? Wow.
I went to Calgary. Yeah, it was a lot of fun until I got back and I realized they paid me in Canadian, so I didn't make nearly as much as I thought. But it was still a fun show.
So, I mean, that had to be fun. How much time have you been up in Canada?
A few times before, but never for comedy. And this was my first week at the Comedy Cave, which is a club in Calgary, and they're very supportive of the comics and stuff. And it was nice. I had to transition or adjust my material a little bit because it's Canada, so they couldn't really relate to any of the mass shooting material that I do up there. The closest I get to mass shootings in Canada is hunting more than one goose. So it wasn't quite the same thing.
But you did come away with comprehensive health care, which must have been nice.
Which was great. Yeah, I egged that. There weren't that many hecklers, but I was like, bring it on, because I know you guys will fix me. I might have to wait a little bit, but it'll still be free. So I'm okay with that.
Did you, the thing that always blows my mind about Canada is I go there, and I know this is the weirdest thing. I still can't get over the fact that the McDonald's has pizza. That's just weird, man.
Oh, I guess I didn't go to McDonald's. I stuck to coffee shops, but I didn't realize that they are very nice. I have this bit on the Taliban and how they hate their lives because they're working in offices now because they're in charge of the government. And go ahead.
I'm not just laughing. Sorry.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't become a terrorist to get a job their mom would approve of, right? Like that's not why you join the Taliban. But anyway, so I'm doing jokes about that, and then I just feel like groans, like, "Oh, it's like you guys are so nice. You won't let me make fun of terrorists?" Like.
Well, I'm glad you got up there. I'm very glad you got up there. I mean, that is once again a sign of how much success you're having. You're back in town here. How long have you been back? Did you watch the snow melt like insanely fast?
I did, yeah. I've been in town a little bit now. I had some gigs last weekend. I was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and then Wyoming, Minnesota, or Y for short. I had a gig over there, and it went well.
Where were you at in Wyoming?
Wyoming, yeah. There's a Split Rocks Event Center. Really great gal, Allison, runs it, and she's trying to start a monthly comedy thing over there. So I was their guinea pig, and decent sized crowd, good laughers. So hopefully that can become a spot for comedy on the outskirts of the city.
She actually could be pretty smart here because after watching Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and he was talking about how the fact that most people under the age of 30 can't afford a house anymore. If they're going to afford one, they got to go out to Wyoming. That means more people out there. So she might be onto something. That might actually be a slick idea.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, on the outskirts, as far because it's still essentially a home gig. Like I can anything within probably 2 hours, I can drive back 2 or 2.5. I'll come back anyway. But if it's just something like 45 minutes away or whatever, it's a no-brainer, and it paid well. And yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's a lot of clubs in the cities. I'm at Comedy Corner Underground, obviously Acme, House of Comedy. But for a comedy fan, there's very, very quality comics that you can see in multiple venues all over the area.
Oh, that actually one of the things. It seems like it's come back. It was up for a while, quite a few years back, and it went down. But now it really seems we are starting to get a lot more comedy clubs again, which is a good thing. I think comedy is underappreciated as far as an art form, and I think when it's done well, it's as rewarding as any of the arts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely not as appreciated enough because comedy is almost like being a detective. Like everyone thinks they can do it until they try. Like you watch a lot of stand-up or you watch a lot of true crime, and you're like, oh, how did those detectives not? It's not many. You don't look at ballet. You don't look at the NFL and think I could do that. But stand-up comedy, there's at least 2 or 3 drunk people after the show who are like, I'm pretty funny. I'm like, okay, good luck. Good luck with it.
I loved it when I was at MIA, Minneapolis Institute of Arts, and they actually had brought in comedy. And I said, I'm so glad they did this. Now, it wasn't like they brought in Rickles, because, and that would have been hilarious.
I was about to say, well, who's performing at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts? That's
Hello, paintings. How are you?
Yeah. Like throwing tomatoes, but there's a canvas behind you, so then it lands against the wall, and it's part of like a living art thing or a Yoko Ono thing where every time a joke doesn't work, I cut myself. That's probably too dark, but I feel like there's a few ways you can go with that.
Robert Burrell, kind enough to join us. Speaking of dark, have you? I'll throw it out there. The politics of this country, never-ending, cornucopia of an absolute blah. Is there anything that you've been watching right now? Anything you've been paying attention to?
Well, I mean, as you know, I do talk a fair amount of politics in my act, but I try to do it in such a way where even at least moderate Republicans or crazy pro-life Republicans can get on board with it and try to find like a middle ground. And I mean, the whole Trump indictment thing has been wonderful. And even in Wyoming, if there's a way where they seem to be Trumpers, but you can still find a way to make them laugh. Like, I feel like we're ready in this country. I want to see a monument built for our most corrupt president, so we can call it Mount Hushmore. And it'll be like Nixon and Harding and Trump. And it'll be the only tourist attraction to that will pay you not to talk about it. Like, you didn't see anything, nothing to see here.
When you went to Canada, I mean, Calgary is known as kind of a conservative part of Canada, but isn't that kind of like, Chuck Schumer? I mean, isn't a Canadian conservative? I mean, did you really have to change it too much as far as going to a more moderate ground there?
No, not at all. Yeah, exactly. A conservative Canadian's like a moderate Democrat here for the most part, as far as like how it translates. Like a maybe not necessarily a mansion, but someone in the middle there, definitely. And I also did a fair amount of poking fun at Trudeau, which they appreciated. I just talked because Biden was up there, and he was visiting with Trudeau, and I was like, well, Biden and Trudeau have a lot in common, right? Biden was the vice president to our first black president, and Justin Trudeau was your first blackface prime minister.
Wow.
And they ate that up in Calgary. They were. It's a little bit dated, but fortunately, they do remember that. I mean, it's almost an adorable scandal by comparison to stuff we have here. But Justin's little slip up.
Well, we do have a slip up here. I don't know. Did you see Lindell today? He's got to pay that cyber symposium they had at the Corn Palace out in South Dakota. He apparently
I've done gigs at the Corn Palace. I've played that route. We had the same booker probably, me and Lindell.
Well, let me ask you something. You've been to
I could have used some crack for that show. The energy I needed. Go ahead.
Well, let me say, you've been to the Corn Palace. If I'm thinking of a high-tech symposiums, nothing screams at me about a building dedicated to agrarian policy. I mean, that's
yep,
it does
absolutely.
When you were there, did you fill it up there at least? The Corn Palace?
No, it wasn't at the Corn Palace, the venue itself. It was at a bar like near the Corn Palace, whatever that town is called. What do you remember the name of that Iowa town that's got it?
South Dakota. Is it Williston, South Dakota? Is it Williston? Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it wasn't a good show, which isn't surprising. One of the worst shows I've ever done, actually. They didn't advertise comedy at all. I get on stage, there's like 3 people there. They're watching bowling on TV. I was like, how's everybody doing? And I just remember the guy turned around in the bar stool and was like, stop, which was so funny because he wasn't mean. He just didn't want to hear it. And I was like, well, they're not going to give me the $20 if I don't come up here and bomb for a while. So none of us are going to like this, but at least I'll have $20 after.
I was there. We were in town. There is a place right by the train station there that serves these fantastic sandwiches. I mean, really nice. And we were getting ready to leave, and I said, we go to the tourist person and say, is there anything we missed here? And she goes, well, we've got a Subway. And it took me a quick second to realize she was talking about a Subway sandwich shop. And I'm like this is something to impress people with. But I was like, okay, great. Well, we're done here in this town. Then I think we can head off to Rushmore and see the rest of it.
Yeah. Is it the first Subway? Did one of the guys from Rush stab somebody in the bathroom when they were on tour? Like, is there like a cool story about this Subway?
No, it's just a Subway, which makes it even sadder.
Yeah, that's very sad. Absolutely. At first, I thought, you think like the Subway. Oh, you guys have a Subway? No, sandwiches. Okay.
Yeah, there's like 6 blocks to the town, so clearly it wasn't that kind of a Subway. Lindell now has to pay $5 million. The arbitrator has come on out and said, indeed, a guy did come out and prove that the stuff that he had at that symposium at the Corn Palace in South Dakota was indeed not from the 2020 election. And so Lindell now $5 million. And that's, of course, a reminder, he has a $1.3 billion lawsuit against him from Dominion at this point. I don't think MyPillow is going to be in business much longer. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Did they say what the data was from? Was it just like rosters from like the New York Rangers from like the 80s or like voter? Like, I'd be curious, what is it like, where that idiot drew data from? Was it like the Nielsen ratings from like the Dallas finale or something? Like, look at all these, like, this isn't even political.
Well, I got to tell you the truth. That's kind of the crazy part. Apparently, it's just sheets of numbers that don't make any damn sense.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, just like, Green Bay Packers statistics, measurements of Victoria's Secret models from the late night. Like, none of these don't mean anything.
Oh God, I saw the Fox News thing. You got to admit, I mean, I know a lot of people are upset because Dominion did not make Fox News apologize and grovel, but dude, $787 million. And you could just see them. I mean, the sweat coming off of Rupert, the thought about going to court with that one, because it sounded like they had Fox News dead to rights in that trial.
And then aren't there some other lawsuits too, though? Like, not Dominion, but I thought I saw that some other people were suing, or maybe it was individuals at Fox News, but I thought there were a few more lawsuits in the queue for them.
Smartmatic is the other voting company they said was, I guess, working with China or whatever it was, and they've got a $2.6 billion lawsuit, and apparently their lawsuit is actually even better than Dominion's was. And so, this is going to I don't know how much Fox News is going to have left. I mean, I don't know what they're going to pay, but my guess is they're going to have to downscale some of their talent, which would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Half of their shows are just going to be Candace Owen TikToks that she's given them permission to show.
I can't believe Maria Bartiromo is going to be on that anymore. I got it. I mean, she was the one. I mean, that $787 million is courtesy of her.
Yeah. If Trump, I don't know if Trump is going to go to jail or not with the whole 34 counts thing. But if Trump does wind up in prison, then it is one time where the Nazi support is going to come in handy. That's the one time I think you want protection. Make sure no one's getting too close to him. Donald, any thoughts on the shower massacre? There were a lot of fine people on both sides of those shanks.
Jesus. Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that because it's brilliant. And it's true, probably. That's the best part. That actually is, hello, guys. I'm finally here. Your dad's back.
Evan, you owe me 4 cigarettes, Evan. I don't want to bring it up, but if I don't get those 4, it's going to become 10 before you. You don't want to earn that 10. You don't want to know why you have to earn the 10, Evan.
Once again, you've got the show coming up. I will ask one last thing before we were talking about tonight's show or tomorrow night show and Saturday night show. Are you heading back on the road? Are you going to be out somewhere before too long?
Let's see. So this weekend, Comedy Corner Underground, downtown Minneapolis, 7 Corners. It's the basement of the Corner Bar. And then I think I might be, depending on whether or not he's bringing an opener. I may be opening for Jay Moore at the House of Comedy the first weekend in March. Or not March, May.
Wow.
First weekend in May. Yeah, and then first weekend of June is the Denver Comedy Lounge, and the last weekend of June is Last Comedy Cafe in Tucson.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. If that comes to fruition in May, let me know. I'll make sure we talk about that as well, okay?
Absolutely. You got it.
Cool. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, Comedy Corner out in 7 Corners. Stop on by. It is Robert Burrill, Max Chapman, 8 o'clock. Is it 2 shows each night?
No, just one show. One show at 8 p.m.
Oh, 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. On both Friday night and Saturday night. I'll put a link out to Comedy Corner so you can get tickets. Robert Burrill. Robert, as always, my favorite comedian. You are more than welcome to come by this show anytime. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. Robert Burrill, folks. Let's take a break. Come on back to wrap up the show. When we do return, it's the Matt McNeil Show on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T. family of companies. Our new Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care is a bold reimagining of what assisted living can be. Our emphasis is on creative meals, outdoor walking paths, and a spectrum of restorative therapies and activities. We are founded on a history of care. We are dedicated to enriching lives. Learn more about Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care by visiting marytinc.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Our station is located on a marsh, and we do our best not to disturb that environment. So I was thrilled to discover Natural Lawn. Their safer products and soil tests ensure that your lawn will be healthy, lush, and green. I don't even have to worry about bringing my furry friend to the station, thanks to the great care from Natural Lawn. I highly recommend Natural Lawn to keep your lawn beautiful, healthy, without compromising safety and sustainability. More at naturalawn.com.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop. 2023 is here, and you can make it the year of the Eagle with the National Eagle Center. You and your family can enjoy exciting Eagle experiences, including field trips, private habitat tours, and exclusive behind-the-scenes tours. Meet live eagles up close, view bald eagles and golden eagles in the wild, and receive personal one-on-one education with dedicated and knowledgeable Eagle experts as you journey into the world of eagles like never before. Learn more and plan your unforgettable Eagle experience today at nationaleaglecenter.org/experiences.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the McNeil Show. Can you just imagine what that comedy show by the Corn Palace must have been like? For real. Patton Oswalt talks about that sometimes with these comedy things. The worst comedy shows you've ever done. And they're just hilarious. Oh, God. It just...
the guy turning around and just saying, be done. Not getting angry.
Stop it. Stop talking.
Trying to watch my bowling over here.
And I believe that's got to be the most honest thing he said about that entire story. I guarantee they were watching bowling in that South Dakota bar. Tell you how crazy this is. The day has been. I'm just now getting to the McCurtain County stuff. I got more on these guys. The McCurtain County, Oklahoma. These are the guys that the reporter left the tape recorder in the meeting room, and they basically blabbed about being racist, trying to hire hitmen, just disgusting stuff. The conversations that happened when the commission didn't think anyone was listening included plotting the murder of a local newspaper publisher, including hiring a hitman to carry out the murder. Other topics included barbecuing a body and longing for the days when they could lynch black men. Wow. The commissioners have already resigned, but the county sheriff's office announced they would be investigating the paper for making the recording. In a statement, the sheriff's office claimed the recordings were doctored and fake. Wednesday evening, the paper decided to release the recordings in their entirety to dispute the allegations of doctoring the audio. The paper has also included body cam footage of arrest of Bobby Barrack, which was later killed in police custody. I'll get back to that in a second. Here's another one that this is a kind of surprise. We're also releasing the full unedited audio and transcript of the March 6, 2023 open meeting of the McCurtain County Commissioners. The transcript has been transcribed to the best of our ability, as the dialect makes the dialogue difficult to distinguish in places. With the transcription, the Gazette is no way certifies its complete accuracy and encourages all readers to listen to the audio recording provided for themselves. Among the details outlined in the paper was a reference to physical affair between the captain of all officers, Elisa Manning, and the former county chair, Jimmy Westbrook. Manning appears to imply she exchanged sexual favors to get pay raises for the county sheriff's office. Wow. Can I do the joke? I can't do that. No, I actually, as I run in my head, I'm like, no, don't do that joke. It has to do, well, no, I'm not. No, I'm done talking. With all that blank going on with the paper, I say y'all better watch it, because I'm fixing to tell Willingham that I've been under the damn table with Westbrook. That's how we got them pay raises and stuff. You want to talk blank about me and Sheriff Kevin Clardy? We're fixing to start some blank about me and Westbrook, Manning says on the recording. Wow. So sexual impropriety as well. We can add that to the list of charming character traits of these people. Let's get on back to Mr. Bobby Barrack, because once again, they released the video footage of this. The McCurtain County Commission has recently, county officials, once again, under scrutiny. The only local print newspaper has released body cam footage from the McCurtain County Sheriff and his deputies on the night they arrested a Tulsa man, Bobby Barrack. The man died in custody of the police in March of 2022. After reportedly breaking property at a convenience store in Eagleton and causing a scene, citizens hogtied Barrack before deputies arrived, said the local reporters, which I imagine they're like, yeah, get justice. All right. Tulsa attorney Michael Garrett said in a press release that Barrack experienced another example of unreasonable force, including tasers, while he was handcuffed. Barrack then had a seizure and was dead 5 days later. So basically, the guy was handcuffed. They must have unhogtied him. They handcuffed him, put him in the car, and then tased him as handcuffed. Lawsuits are against the sheriff's office as well as McCurtain County Board of Commissioners. That includes wrongful death and civil rights violations. The lawsuit, because you can't hogtie people, folks. The lawsuit was filed before McCurtain Gazette News published or QR code leading to the body camera footage. The lawsuit also comes after Sheriff Kevin Clardy was revealed to have joked with Commissioner Mark Jennings, who resigned, about the days about, the fact that he wanted to lynch black people. Wow. McCurtain County, Oklahoma sounds like an absolute pit. And I think the federal government now needs to get in there and start a major investigation. And maybe, just maybe, might be a good idea to take the passports of everyone involved here. That might be a good idea. Native Roots Radio, I'm awake. That's up in the 6 o'clock hour. We are back. Steve Simon joins us tomorrow. Until then, see ya.
The St. Paul Art Collective is thrilled to announce the return of the St. Paul Art Crawl this spring. And new for 2000.